And the second issue I want to deal with is nationalism, again, very closely linked, and something that's been heavily influenced by politics, especially. Sometimes one of the criticisms of international law is that it's just too intrusive, that these states have fought for independence for a long, long time, that there are processes and historical achievements from gaining independence. And then so to give up some of that sovereignty for an international legal system is simply just goes too far, right? And so international law is becoming a bit too intrusive. And so what happens sometimes is that these states begin to look inward, right? They look to solidify domestic policies and domestic institutions at the expense often of the international institutions. What's obvious is that rules such as prohibition of torture or prohibition of slavery, these are pretty much rules that the majority, every country follows, right? They will happily agree on this kind of stuff. And so it's okay for international law to legislate on these issues that everyone in the world agrees on. The problem comes when international law starts to dictate things such as climate change policy and trade law, for example, right, in the coming and going of goods. And this is where countries can often find that international legal institutions are becoming very intrusive, and so they become very scared and turn inwards. And you'll find that this is pretty much exactly what has happened with these two scenarios, one being the election of Donald Trump, a populist figure, a kind of make America great again, an anti-internationalist, and also Brexit, right? The EU is a form of an international organization, sorry, and the EU then essentially is a form of international law. And so by Brexit, what people in the UK, at least the majority of people said, was that, well, we don't want to be bound by the laws of the international community or the European community. We want to be bound by the laws of Britain. And it's not just Trump, right? These populist voters that espouse sort of national voices, this is popular in some of the biggest countries in the world, India and Brazil. The challenge for international law is actually just finding a balance between being not too intrusive so that some states become bad apples and withdraw from EU treaties and, international treaties and conventions and are now no longer subject to laws and regulations. And on the flip side, you have to make sure that international law is not too lenient either, because then otherwise countries, big powerful states such as USA and China and these kind of countries will begin to use their power, flex their muscles, and create global monopolies. Eventually that will lead to catastrophes, war, power hierarchies, and power dominance.